Hello everyone, my name is Lowko, and today it is time for a professional match of StarCraft 2, and what I've got for you is a Terran versus Zerg on New Repugnancy. Spawning here in the northeast corner of the map and playing with the blue Terran SCVs. From Germany, we have none other than HeRoMaRinE. And his opponent in the opposite corner with the red Zerg drones. From Italy, we're looking inside of the main base of Reynor. Alrighty, so here we go. A very high level match of Zerg versus Terran between two European pro gamers. Speaking of Zerg versus Terran though, feel free to disagree with me, right, in the comment section down below. But I personally think that Terran versus Zerg is the best matchup in the game right now. And I know I'm a massive fanboy of StarCraft. I love every single matchup, so don't take this as like, oh my god, Lowko hates Terran versus... No, that's not the case. I just absolutely adore this matchup because it's so complicated and very, very strategic as well. I think also partially the reason for that is the fact that every single unit in this matchup has its place for both of the races. I mean, maybe the least used unit is like the Raven, but obviously that one gets used as well as like an harassment tool. It gets added on in like the late game as well. We see it as a way to detect burrowed units and all of that as well. And if you compare it to, for example, like Zerg versus Protoss, right? I mean, when is the last time you've seen a Zerg player going Ultralisk against Protoss, right? I mean, obviously that's not the full story, but I think at the very least, Zerg versus Terran is very cool to watch as there's so much variety in all of the games. None of the games really look the same. If you compare it as well to like, I don't know, the first couple of minutes of Zerg versus Protoss, they oftentimes have the tendency to look very, very similar. And then, you know, I see people in the comment section getting upset at me like, Lowko, talk about the game! You're not talking about the game. It's like, well, I've seen the opener a million times before. It's been the exact same opener for the last couple of years. But in Terran vs Zerg, there is quite a lot of variety. Obviously, the reason for that as well is that Terran players have so many different unit compositions that they can go for. The biggest change, obviously, is Bio versus Mech. It almost feels like playing two different races. If they go for, like, infantry-based units or if they go for, like, you know, these mechanical-based units, it makes a huge difference in the way that the matchup gets played, but also in the way that Zerg has to respond. So that's going to be one of the priorities right here for Reynor, to figure out exactly what kind of strategy that this Terran player is going for. First Reaper, though, already made its way across the map. A Queen is going to spawn here in the natural in just a little bit. Nice micro here, actually, as well by the Zerg. I mean, back in the day, it was normal to lose one drone versus one of these Reapers in the early game. Nowadays, though, I mean, it's mostly about the creep tumor. I mean, Zerg players don't even lose Zerglings anymore against this. I mean, losing a drone is absolutely huge. That Reaper, though, mostly just keeping the Zerg player in check and making sure that the third base sometimes gets delayed a little bit. Now, in this case, rather, the third base has already been acquired. And even though HeRoMaRinE hasn't seen it technically, he knows that it's there, right? He's got a good understanding of what this game should look like and when that third base should be taken as well. Already a tech lab coming up too, so we will be seeing, very likely at the very least, that starport switch over here in a little bit. That's gonna allow HeRoMaRinE to go for Ravens, but also go for Banshees. Also even go for like the Banshee cloak upgrade and then like cancel it if the opponent decides to fly in the Overlord. Although speaking of flying in the Overlord, look at that. I like highlighting these small little moves. Since a lot of Terran players go 1-1-1 and then they go for a Viking first, in this case it's gonna be that Banshee first, but most of the time, right, this Overlord is essentially doomed. So Reynor right here has already kind of figured out what's going on. He's like, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and send that Overlord back. Losing it is not that great, so I'll go ahead and just simply send it back and I should be fine against whatever. The question is though, is he gonna be... like, is he gonna have enough information right now? These 4 Hellions are already available as well. He's not gonna know about those leaving the natural until right now because that Overlord went away. I mean, I was praising the decision there, but I was also questioning whether or not that was the correct move. These Hellions swoop into the natural because that Overlord was not on the lookout. And all of a sudden, Reynor is in a little bit of trouble. He did not see these Hellions move out. Loses 9 drones in just the blink of an eye at the cost of only 4 Hellions. And I can kind of feel like HeRoMaRinE certainly did not expect that either. This is the reason why you always want to be extremely cautious in these kind of matchups. So what most of the time happens, right, is that Reynor leaves that Overlord right up there, and then he can see that the 4 Hellions are moving out. Now, truth be told, normally the Hellions don't really commit that aggressively. Normally they're just standing on the perimeter, trying to snipe any kind of creep tumor, maybe move in once they have like 6 or 8, but in this case it worked out absolutely brilliantly, and a lot of damage has actually been done with just a couple of these flamey boys. He actually continued making them as well. Now, judging by the fact that there's a second tech lab, yeah, there we go. It is likely going to be that bio transition here from HeRoMaRinE, but obviously he can still continue making a couple more. Here we go. Once again, these Hellions going to try and test the waters on the other side of the map. Reynor has been droning up though, and obviously that's one of the things that Zerg players are very good at, making a lot of those workers, trying to get that economy back in check. There are a couple of Banshees available too. There we go. They're going to activate their cloaking field. And immediately an Overseer does get morphed in as well. A second one too. So they shouldn't deal too much damage. There's even a Spore Crawler set up in every single one of these mineral lines. So at least on paper, this defense should be pretty straightforward. Third command center acquired right here at a very normal time as well. And HeRoMaRinE is right now transitioning towards his bread and butter, his very comfortable mid game. Nice little bit of micro here once again actually on these Hellions, getting a couple of kills. And once more, they're hunting for the mineral line, and it looks like they might very well get a connection. It takes 3 of these Hellion Flames to one-shot drones, and there's still a couple of them remaining. Decent splitting here, but this early game from Reynor has been a bit of a disaster, right? I mean, he's taken more damage than he reasonably should at this point in the game, and I mean, just losing a couple of drones is already very painful. Losing 16 though is a bit of a disaster. So if you go right here, after this aggression gets shut down as well, right? If you go right here to the units lost tab, you can see, yes, 18 drones ended up going down, but obviously HeRoMaRinE also sacrificed a lot of those Hellions and then that one Reaper as well to make that happen. The real advantage right here is that HeRoMaRinE kept that Zerg player on his toes, and he got himself that third base up uncontested, plus he's now going for double upgrades. Look at the difference right here between these upgrades, right? So the Evolution Chambers right now will finish up shortly, whereas 1-1 is already going to be halfway done by the time that these upgrades finish up, and that's really the real advantage. It's creating a lot of time right here for HeRoMaRinE to continue pressuring this Zerg player later on into the game as well, and that's really what you're looking for if you're a Terran player at this level. You're not really expecting to get very far ahead, economically speaking. You're mostly just trying to make sure that you can win at a later stage of it. And I think that's one of the mistakes that a lot of the lower level Terran players make. They will just push a little bit too aggressively as a follow-up. In this game though, look at HeRoMaRinE, right? Just trying to be a nuisance, trying to get small advantages here and there, and just trying to slow down this Zerg wherever possible. Playing extremely conservatively right now with these units. Doesn't want to lose those. I mean, I guess losing those Hellions is not that big of a deal. They're more or less like a stepping stone to transition towards the mid-game, unless you obviously want to go ahead and play mech. But they're more or less like a stepping stone to make sure that you're going to be in a good spot in the mid-game. And that's exactly what he's getting to right now. It's going to be Hydraling Bane right here for Reynor, so a very classical response as well to what HeRoMaRinE is playing. But look at how this is going so far, right? Yeah, he's going to clean this up, and yeah, he's going to be okay. Nice little bit of target firing as well by HeRoMaRinE. Really dealing a lot of damage here. And you know what? He's going to be able to even shut down all of these Zerglings too. But there's very little room right now for counter-attack damage. HeRoMaRinE just forcing the Zerg player to keep those units at home. One Overseer though, scouting out exactly what is going on. Even now already going for the armor upgrade. I actually quite like that. Most of the time we see players now transitioning towards that attack upgrade, but instead it's going to be the armor upgrade. One of the siege tanks though already trying to come from the back. Good creep cleaning here as well by HeRoMaRinE. Really showing us what happens here if you give him an inch in the early game. Just slowly, methodically continues pushing forward. Now he's certainly not in a game-winning position yet though. He needs to be careful that he does not overextend. There's a lot of Banelings here coming as well. Hydras don't have their upgrades just yet, but 1-1 is just about to finish. And that's when that upgrade advantage that HeRoMaRinE has at this point is gonna sort of disappear. Once again, a couple of Zerglings trying to go in from the back. Always very annoying that now Meeks, that siege tank, actually deals some friendly fire as well. And actually, I think that one tank in the front was the one mostly responsible for shooting down the other tank as well. And Reynor does manage to hold on here relatively comfortably. He already secured himself a 4th base as well. I think he's now looking to even go, yeah, for a base right here in the center. Creep spread is going to be laid down once again. A couple of queens have been dedicated to that task. HeRoMaRinE wants to stop it, but he's actually in a bit of a... Ooh, you know what? He actually forgot +2 armor there. That's actually a bit of a disaster. Forgetting that upgrade is actually a very big deal because it now slows down the upgrade advantage that he had earlier. Obviously, 2-2 is going to be started up immediately here for Reynor, who's going to try and attempt some comebacks. Or at the very least some counterattacks to maybe try and see if he can come back into this game. But so far, he's been in a bit of a rough position. He is able to go up towards the hive right now. He does still have 80+ workers. And that's really where Reynor is in his sweet spot. I've even seen games where he goes up to like 90, even 95 drones. which is a little bit extreme, but obviously that allows him to play that style that he's very well known for. The constant counterattacks, a lot of Zergling run-bys and all that, and the reason why he can do that is just because of incredible economy. In this game, though, not really going over 80 workers. Maybe he will decide to do so in just a little bit. But at the very least, he's managed to stabilize, right? He's been up with his back against the wall over the last couple of minutes. Right now, though, he's getting to a point where he's actually once again gonna feel comfortable. Terran, though, already secured that base right here in the center of the map. It's gonna morph into a planetary fortress as well. A very solid staging ground, because obviously breaking into this position, very difficult. Plus, these bases in the center are relatively close together. Siege tanks obviously have no problem shooting over these ledges, especially if these rocks are not knocked down yet. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Reynor working on those in just a little bit. But anyways, Aspire is coming up. Adrenal Glands is already started up here as well. So we will be seeing that, at the very least, that late game transition here in a little bit for Reynor. +3 coming up as well, +2 carapace or +2 armor. I guess it's not carapace, right? They're not that insectoid, but it's gonna be +2 infantry armor right there for HeRoMaRinE. It's gonna finish up in a little bit. A couple of Ravens coming up. I really like those. The Ravens obviously very, very helpful when it comes to laying down blinding clouds, but also abducting those siege tanks. But there's so much bio right now, right? Already a couple of Marauders are joining the fray as well. Beautiful splits here by HeRoMaRinE. Trying to set up a surround right now is Reynor, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. Huge stim forward there. HeRoMaRinE, yeah, picks up a couple of the tanks even. Tries to make sure that he's safe, but I think he's just zoning away this Zerg player brilliantly. He's gonna be able to pick up that base right here on the left-hand side of the map as well, and that's really what he's looking to get done here. Slowly but surely advancing his influence in this game. The creep is starting to disappear. Is he gonna go home? No, he's actually moving forward. Okay, here's the slow push. This creates a lot of opportunity right now as well for HeRoMaRinE to obviously push right here from the northern section of the map, but also for Reynor to go for counterattacks. Reynor wants to try and see if he can shut this down before it gets to the point where he can't break it anymore. Nice blinding clouds do go down on a couple of those siege tanks, but there's so much Terran here on the northern section of the map. HeRoMaRinE seems to just be simply breaking through this. +3/+3 has just started up as well. Those Vipers completely out of energy. The Banshees actually from the early game are still around too, so they're gonna, I guess, go after the base right here in the center of the map, while the Terran is busy microing right here on that third, or I guess this was the fourth base of the Zerg player. These two Banshees actually, man. There's no detection here in the center of the map. I think that eventually Reynor might be able to clean this up. But these two Banshees! 19 drone kills. I mean, a couple of those were from the infantry right over here as... Oh my god, those two Banshees! He should be able to push this back, but if he loses all the drones in the center, that's a disaster. Dude, no way! It's those two Banshees that were left over from the early game. The ones that didn't really get too much done, now all of a sudden picked up 28 kills, or at the very least contributed to that. That's insane. All of a sudden, Reynor finds himself only at like 66 drones. He's now adding on a couple of new workers once again too, but that is a crazy amount of damage there done by just two of those Banshees that a lot of people, I think, would just simply give away right in the earlier stages of the game. Regardless though, Zerg is trying to break this. A lot of siege tanks moving in from the top section of the map as well. The Banshees continuing their harassment. 17 and 11 kills between them, but it's gonna be enough here. I think it will end up going down as well, but they certainly have been worth their weight in gold. Once again, distracting those queens now will allow this Terran player to slow push through the center of the map. And HeRoMaRinE, I mean, he's gonna have to face Brute Lords here in a little bit, but it looks like his influence in this game is already a little bit too high. Still though, Zerg desperately trying to hold on. The drones will return to mining right now in the center of the map. A couple of those Corruptors are helping out as well. They are picking out whatever, or they're picking up rather, whatever air unit is available right now for the Terran. That one Brute Lord is gonna be finishing up, but yeah, it is not gonna be enough to thwart away that entire Terran army. And HeRoMaRinE is the one who obtains the victory. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get a notification as soon as I upload more. A special shout out to the Patreon supporters. Thank you guys very much for your generosity. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I will see you once again in the next one.